Welcome back to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off. I'm Matt.
I'm Paige.
Happy New Year. We finally did it. We've arrived. This is releasing on January 1st, 2025. And you know we're going to have to do a recap for the year. I think that there are so many people, us included, that have sold themselves short on what you've accomplished this year.
Facts.
If you're anything like me or Paige, you're sitting here right now listening to this thinking of how much you didn't do this last year, about how you promised yourself you'd do so much in 24. And here we are in 2025, and it's going to be just like last year. I'm going to make all these big promises to myself, and I'm not going to do any of them. I'm going to prove you wrong.
Or maybe you felt like you just survived, but actually you did a lot of things if you're listening to this
You're
podcast.
going to be shocked. Stick with us. This is a 2-part episode. The first part is actually going to be fun. We are going to teach you how to spot poor communication, a really quick acid test for whether or not someone is a poor communicator, if this is someone you should really be arguing with, trying to prove your point to, trying to solve a problem with. We're also going to talk about some hard truths about dismissive, avoidant people. Those are buzzwords that everyone loves to talk about. Paige can't stand them.
I don't like it.
And we are going to rethink a concept. I feel like this was a buzzword in the 80s and 90s and has since just disappeared.
What?
Whatever happened to compatibility?
Oh, that was a buzzword?
Sure it was, man. I used to see this all the time. We're just not compatible. Or what is compatibility? Or what role does that play in a relationship? We're going to talk about all these things. So we're going to split it up into 2 chunks. It's going to be really great. And you're going to have to do this along with us. Along with this, on our website, in our blog, you are going to find a review. I want you to get that review out. I want you to do it along with us. You can pause.
What, their year-end review?
Yes,
like
the
for them
year-end
to
review.
like actually, it's like a journal entry. Yeah,
It is. And I have taken this from Chris Williamson from Modern Wisdom. He does this every year. I started doing it a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken it and kind of adopted it and tweaked it to
apply
to
for
our audience.
us.
I think it's going to be really helpful. It's awesome. We like doing these things. We did one last year too. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really good episode. It's great to be here. We are pumped up and excited for a new year with you guys. Cannot wait to get going. All right, first thing, we've got a website called twfo.com. That's tufo.com, where you can find out about everything. Tufo, everything. We've got merch up there, which, by the way, just had a new shipment of rocks come in. If you don't know what a recovery rock is, that's what a recovery rock is. It's got our logo on the front, and on the back it says, "Thank you for being my rock." This is a really cool way to acknowledge the journey that a spouse has taken with you through sobriety, through recovery, through whatever journey you're really on. This could mean a lot of things. Till the wheels fall off means a lot of different things. It's not just one singular journey. It's whatever you want it to be. If you've been with someone who's been through hell and back with you this past year, it's a really cool way to acknowledge their efforts, their sacrifices, and their support of you.
And if you are a wheelie who has connected with other wheelies and you are on this path together, this would be a great gift for them as well.
Yeah, I swear to God, we're not just trying to sell more rocks. People actually do this. I think it's a really touching gesture.
I thought it was really cool too. When I've been seeing that a lot more lately, I'm like, that's
It's a
pretty
really
cool that
touching
you've got
gesture.
somebody.
If you've
there.
got someone who's always there to pick up the phone for you, and that's a really, really, really cool way to shout them
Amazing.
out. We've got sweatshirts. We've got plenty of pink, plenty of oatmeal. I think we're running low on the other ones, though.
We have green, maroonish, burgundy. I don't know what color that is.
Maroon.
Is it maroon?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
maroon.
we still have a few hats left. We have stickers,
Speaking of sweatshirts, I'm
some t-shirts.
demoing this new hoodie. So I ordered this thing from TikTok Shop because it looked really comfortable and had a bunch of good reviews. And when it came in, this thing was it was like the size of a piece of paper. It was vacuum packed.
Vacuum packed. Yeah, yeah.
And like if you're watching this on YouTube, if I
It should have been steamed
it, man, this
before
thing,
he put it on.
it looks like when you crumble up aluminum foil and then
It
uncrumble
does,
it.
but it looks comfy as hell, y'all. It is
Wicked comfy.
10:30 p.m. here, so we always get comfy in these podcasts.
It's our house.
That's how we roll. Yeah,
It's our house.
Whatever.
It's our studio, man. Yeah, you should be comfy too. If you're listening to this, this is a fun one. I hope you're just chilling around New Year's Day and just.
Or if
What do-
it's the day after New Year's.
What do people eat? Black eyed peas and greens
Black eyed peas
and
and
pork.
greens, pork, and usually like some type of other kind of meat. I don't know. I stopped doing that a long time ago because nobody in my family would eat the stuff that I would make because they kind of got over it. I think as being kids, they're like you being a kid. I'm sure your mom made that all the time.
Burned out.
My mom made it all the time. So we'll probably DoorDash.
Don't really mind black eyed peas. Honestly, they're pretty good, but I only eat them once a year.
I haven't made them in a long time.
I've only ever eat them whenever you make them for New Year's.
But I'm not going to make them this year.
Are you a fan of them?
I like beans. I like any kind of bean. You don't like beans.
I mean, I don't dislike beans.
I know, but anytime I make like a pot of beans, I like to make a big pot of beans that smells really good in the house. Like the smell, and I think that's what you like about it too. It's like garlicky and salty, and it makes the house just smell incredible. But when it comes to actually eating them, you don't eat them.
I think beans are a little overrated in that sense. They're great for aromatics.
It's overrated for you. I like beans though. I put a little bit of mayonnaise in my beans, and it is so damn good. This is my condiment queen thing coming out.
Okay.
Anyway.
Getting through the rest of this.
We're going to be all over the place today. I feel like we haven't talked in a while.
Seriously, we didn't have an episode last week.
No, we didn't, which is weird because we have not skipped an episode. I don't think since
over 2 years.
Yeah, but it was Christmas Day, so we were like, we're not gonna do this.
No, enjoy Christmas.
And then we've had a lot of guests, and we would have some conversations, but I feel like we haven't really sat down and talked on a podcast in a while.
It's been a minute. I'm pumped though.
Me too. All right, what else?
Independently Strong is our program. It's our course. If you've been with us for a while, or if you're brand new and you wonder, okay, is there like a process to all this? Like, what is Till the Wheels Fall Off? We bottled it up and we made a course called Independently Strong. And that's exactly what it is. It is a program that we built with a licensed therapist that will teach you how to do what we did. Kind of. Because whether or not someone gets sober is out of your control. But the journey of empowerment, the journey of growth is universal to spouses, partners of someone with a substance use disorder, and people in recovery. And that is what we packaged. The course walks through all kinds of stuff. Like if you are confused about boundaries, like a lot of people are, we will walk you through that. We walk you through self-care. We walk you through journaling. We talk about what is abuse, what is trauma, what is codependency. How do I fix this? Can I fix this? All of those questions will be answered in that course. It also comes with weekly meetings with Paige or me. One of us will be leading a meeting.
Sometimes both.
Yeah, on Wednesday evenings. You can get with other people that are going through this as well. You can talk about the coursework. We're going to talk about a topic that relates to the coursework. And it's a really great, healthy community where people are really, really growing.
It really helps you find yourself again. I think that's like the basis of it. It helps you find yourself again.
Yeah. I think that's really what we intended to do. Yeah. It's like, that's the number one the thing people will come to us and say is, I don't feel like I know who I am anymore. I've lost myself in all of this. Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to find them back. And so we're going to help you do that. Go over to independentlystrong.com. You can get 75% off that course right now using the code Wheelies75. That's Wheelies with an S, 75. We've also got a sponsor for today's episode. Actually, Soberlink just renewed with us. We've got a sponsor for at least the next 3 months. This has been fun. We renew every quarter with them. We still love them. They still love us. So here we are, Soberlink. It's a mission that we absolutely believe in. We've always said that we would never push anything on this program, on this show, unless it was something that we believed in. And I believe in Soberlink. I believe in the work that Soberlink is doing. Many people want to find a way to prove sobriety. There are a lot of folks out there who want to show their families, their friends, that they are serious this time about recovery. And so they'll voluntarily get a device like Soberlink. It's a breathalyzer, but it's not just any breathalyzer. It's not like the cheap kind that you can buy at CVS or Walmart or any of these places like convenience stores or drugstores.
That you can break easily.
Yeah, and you're not really sure how accurate they are. This thing is state of the art. It is the best breathalyzer that money can buy. And Soberlink uses technology that you wouldn't think would be inside of something like this. It is a sleek, portable device that you can use anywhere, and it has government-grade facial recognition technology so that you know who's blowing into this thing. You can't give it to your buddy. You can't tamper with it because it's tamper-proof, and it will set off alarm bells in Soberlink HQ, and they will know immediately. There will be emails that go out. But it's a really cool device that gives real-time data. When you blow in this thing, it reports to your sober contacts, which is a really cool way. Like, let's say that I wanted to quit drinking and I was serious about it. I would put you on there, maybe a marriage counselor on there, and everyone would know, hey, Matt's doing the deal. He's sober today. It's a great way for people to begin to trust their instincts again, because for so long, I've lied about it. You don't trust me. now you know. Whether I blow and it says that I've been drinking, you'll know that your instincts weren't crazy.
Right.
Or if you're just going to learn, it's going to teach you how to trust me again based on my behaviors because you have data that says they are not drinking.
Exactly.
It's awesome. It is also a really great tool to use if you are in a custody battle.
Co-parent.
If you're co-parenting or something like that, to make sure that your children are somewhere safe, this is the move. It is trusted by over 200,000 people, and it is considered the gold standard in court. It is court admissible in all 50 states and in Canada. Soberlink has been an amazing partner of ours, and they are there when sobriety really matters for people. They are not interested in picking sides or trying to get people in trouble. They're not trying to get people thrown in jail. They are trying to provide the most accurate data possible, and they do that with a state-of-the-art device that is world-class and an amazing support staff that is around the clock 24/7 to make sure that this stuff is it's verified. It is correct. They know the difference between someone wearing cologne or someone who ate a bunch. I've heard the dumbest excuses. I had a bunch of candy, or I had a bunch of mango, or
It's always NyQuil.
they know the difference. NyQuil, all of it. They know the difference. Okay. And they will ask you to blow again if there's a discrepancy. There are humans behind this. It's not some AI tool that just sends out ridiculous results and you can't trust them. They're humans, right? There are people in your corner that want to help you prove sobriety when it matters. They have given our listeners a $50 off coupon. If you go to soberlink.com/wheels, you can access that. They'll send you a coupon in your email. Again, it's soberlink.com/wheels. And thank you to Soberlink. Okay. I've been thinking a lot about this episode, about this topic in general here lately.
Yes, you have.
Because as we approach the end of the year, for the last couple of months, I have been kicking my ass about all of the things that I didn't do and where I should be compared to where I am. And I'm nowhere close, and I didn't accomplish any goals. And this year was just a write-off. It was just a scratch. Just scratch, throw it away, forget about it. What?
You made a bubble.
Did I really?
Yes.
Like you do?
Yes.
It just floated out?
That was so cool. I'm like,
But
never
anyway,
seen that before from someone else. Sorry.
I brought it up and talked to Paige about it. And as it turns out, you've been feeling the same way.
I did. Yeah. I felt like this.
So then I perused the community. Oh, by the way, we've got a free Facebook community. Check out our website. So I went to the Facebook community and I see a lot of the same stuff. I see people who I know have made massive progress this year who are so down on themselves right now. I think this time of the year it does something to people. I think that we force ourselves to get through the holidays. It's like, oh man, just get through the holidays. Let's just get through that. And then then we'll deal with everything. Well, now is the time that we're dealing with everything. And it's kind of a low, dark place. It doesn't help that if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it gets dark at like 5 o'clock and it's just kind of a depressing time of year. But I think that I don't know if it's the circadian rhythm of it all, but it kind of adds into the way I feel about myself too, especially here lately, about what I've accomplished and what I haven't. And so we've got this review that you can find on our blog, tufo.com. Go on the blog. It'll be up there. And I want to walk through this. I want you to go through it first, Paige. I want to go through yours.
Ooh, why?
First.
So that I don't take your answers?
No. I want to go through yours first because I know that you've had an incredibly difficult year. I'll just be transparent with people. This is a really hard job.
Yeah.
This is a really, really hard job.
Yes.
First of all, you never really wanted to do the show.
No.
In the beginning.
I didn't.
This is not something that you were looking forward to doing. You did not want to do a podcast. You didn't want to talk to people. You've never really put yourself out there like this.
Well, it wasn't that. The thing is that I didn't know much about podcasting too. Like I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. I thought we were just going to do social media things and, put our lives out there that way. But you were like, oh, let's do a podcast. I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to jump into this that quickly. Let's see what we can do. But this is what we do. We challenge each other and it's fine. And it's not the podcasting that has been like difficult for me. I will say that this year has been the big word for me is probably overstimulated. I think a lot of people deal with being overstimulated as it is, just with social media, the world, and the shit that you're dealing with right now in society, whatever. But for me personally, that would be the word that I would give myself, was just being overstimulated more than usual. And I think it's just, I had a lot on my plate.
You had a lot on your plate, but I think more than that, you were really, really out of your comfort zone.
Really out of my comfort zone.
All year long.
Yes, I was. All year long. I did a lot of exposure therapy. A lot of that, of just like pushing myself out there, stinging myself as much as I possibly can, just so I can realize that it's not that bad. Because each time we sting ourselves over and over again, like, and you realize that it's not, well, each time you do it, you realize pretty quickly, like, I didn't die from this. I'm okay. Everything's fine. Like, what was the worst thing I did? Maybe I said something that sounded funny or something. I don't know. Maybe I said a word wrong. Maybe I spelled something incorrectly. Like, is it really that big of a deal? But I'm a perfectionist. You know, I look at all the things. I'm really hard on myself. Very, very hard on myself.
Yeah.
And you are too, damn it.
We're talking about yours right now. Okay. You got out of your comfort zone big time this year. And I know that came with a lot of strife. There's a lot of grief. There was a lot of anger and frustration at times, because it's a lot. Like, just to kind of let you guys know behind the scenes, like, our show isn't even that big. I can't imagine, and actually I can't wait to see what shows look like when they get really big, because I hope it does get that big to the point where we've got a full team and meetings, and, you know, we've got assistants and producers and all that good stuff. But as it stands right now, we're doing everything ourselves. Everything from editing audio to video,
creating social media,
creating content,
the content, all of it.
It's writing. It is coursework. It is leading meetings. It is staying in touch with the community. I mean, it's a full-time job, and we already have full-time jobs. Like, I work 10 hours a day in my day job. It's, like I said, it's about 11 o'clock right now at night. And this is pretty typical for us.
Yeah.
We'll be up till close to midnight doing this. And then on top of that, like, we have a relationship and a marriage, and we have personal lives, but our personal lives have really kind of taken a back seat this year.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
And that's been tough. That's been tough to deal with.
I actually said in one of my episodes in my Pages perspective that next year I really want to focus on doing more personal things and not just focusing on this. The hard part about it is that our business and personal go together. You know, it really does. Like, this is business, but it's still so personal for us. So it's hard to kind of find that balance. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I would also say that I think it's pretty awesome because I love working with you.
No, I think it's great.
And we've gotten a lot closer.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that was even possible.
Yeah. There's a lot of good that has come out of it. But this is that two thoughts at once type of thing. Like, we can still struggle, but also be grateful for what we are going through and what we've done and what we've accomplished. Like, there's still some things that I'm just like, I was overstimulated, overwhelmed. I had a lot of overwhelming moments this year. I let my self-care go on the back burner for a lot of the time.
So how would you say, this is the first question and then review, how would you say, I want listeners to think about this too, how has this year gone?
Meh, until I wrote down things that I did.
I think we all feel that way in the beginning.
Yes.
Everyone's either going to say, like, bad, awful, terrible, horrible.
Or I was just surviving, you know.
Just barely. Or meh. Maybe at best meh.
Meh. Yeah.
At best.
But when I went through my pictures and I went through the things that I accomplished this year, I was like, oh, you know what? This was actually a good year. But there was a lot of growth in this year. And that's a lesson too. Growing isn't simple. It's not easy. Changing and adapting, like doing different things in your life, that's not easy stuff. Like, it makes it, I think that's why we feel like we didn't accomplish anything, because we did a lot of hard work, a lot of challenging work.
Yeah. Would you say that growth is like giving birth in some ways?
What do you mean?
It's just incredibly challenging. Feels like there's never going to be an end.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
you get this beautiful thing on the other side.
But then you get something on the other side. That's part of it.
Yeah.
It's fucking part of it.
Okay. So what went well this year?
Okay. I don't want to go through all the things that went
Hang
well.
on. Before we do that, you mentioned something that's really awesome, and I want listeners to do this. I did this. It's really cool, actually, because so much happens over the course of 365 days. It's easy to forget what you did. Like, life just kind of like days run into one another. Go through your phone. Go through your photos. Start in January.
I challenged people in Pages Perspective a couple of weeks ago to do this.
I hope you do that.
And
I
want you to go to the community and post that. I want you to say, if you can, post the things that you did. Like, that you'll go through and you'll say, oh, you know what? There actually was some good stuff in there. There was some good stuff in there. I did some good things.
Yeah, I went on that trip to that place that I said I wouldn't, and I did it without somebody because there was too much toxicity going on, or I just didn't want to spend time with them, or I left that tough relationship, or We rekindled
Set boundaries.
Yeah, set boundaries, rekindled the relationship, and we went to dinner and went to that game together, and there's
Yes.
photos of it.
We went
It's
to
all
a
in there.
concert, or I went to a concert by myself, or, I went to dinner by myself. I got out of my comfort zone. These are good things. Even though they felt uncomfortable, they are good things. Those are things that went well.
Yeah, I didn't even want to do it. I didn't even want to open my phone and look at it. It felt overwhelming to go through it, but it was actually fun. It was actually fun to go through those photos and stuff.
Oh, I loved it. I liked typing it out. I actually put it on a whole page. I made it organized, and it was really beneficial.
Okay.
So we, what went well?
What
we
went well?
did, we did our first workshop. So this, I guess, do you want me to talk about personal and business, or what? How should I tackle this?
Both.
Because
Okay,
I feel
so
like they both go together for me.
For us this last year, a lot of it's twofold related.
A lot of it is twofold.
So if we say business, it's twofold because we take it seriously. We treat it like a job. We do.
Yeah.
We treat it like a job. Like we take it that seriously. Like this is our lives in so many ways. It's our reputations and it's us. Like it's nothing fake about. Like this is us.
Yeah.
And so we put a lot of care into it. So we treat it like work. So if we say job, that's what we mean. So yeah, we're talking about twofold.
Yeah. So what went well? Our relationship, like we've gotten closer throughout this entire process. We've learned more about each other. We've actually gotten frustrated with each other. I've learned a lot about how I respond to certain things because of my overstimulation. That's a whole other topic, but that's something that's going well though, because it's my self-awareness that I'm trying to work on. Anyway, so I presented in front of people. I did a majority of the creation of the actual workshop binder or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like I put that together because that's my area of expertise. I get to do things in the background. I started Paige's Perspective. Every week I have an episode that comes out. I started the Independently Strong community meetings. So we have discussions each Wednesday. That's a big thing for me. And that's also kind of like exposure therapy for me because I've discussed how open I am about being uncomfortable with speaking to people in a way. Like I can do lives all day long. It's different. But when there's like faces in front of me, I kind of freeze. I'm just like, it's like stage fright. It's something that almost everybody has a fear of doing. But I decided, you know what? I need to do this because I think it's important. It's for them. It's not necessarily for me, but it is partly for me because I am actually exposing myself to something that makes me uncomfortable.
Has it gotten easier?
It has gotten easier.
Seriously?
It's gotten easier, but sometimes I'm still just like, But that's what I'm going to change next year with my focus on why do I focus so much on the things that I do poorly? I want to focus on the things that I do well. I want to focus on my strengths. I want to hone in on those. I want to feed that because what I do is that I start becoming really insecure when I'm always trying to focus on my negativity and the bad things that I do. I want to swap it and be like, okay, I want to focus on the good things that I can do. What can I bring to these meetings? What can I bring? I know things. I'm not like completely, out of the loop of what goes on in this life. I know things. I've been through it. I've been there. It's just been a long time since I've been there.
You're crazy capable and talented.
I know that I'm capable of doing it, but I focus so much on being a perfectionist that I look at all the negative stuff or all the things that I feel like I don't do. So next year that's my challenge. And we talk about self-awareness and people think, oh, that's just the things that you do bad, that you need to work on. Self-awareness is like, what do you need to work on? But it's not. Self-awareness is the good things too. What are the things that you're doing? What are your strengths? What are you capable of doing? That's part of being self-aware too. You and I suck at that.
I'm the most unself-aware person of all time.
I don't know. You've gotten really pessimistic the past few months, but we'll when it comes to you, that
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I think this is relevant for listeners too. You're talking about getting comfortable doing what used to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think this applies to setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I think this applies to going to therapy and opening up. I think this applies if you're trying to get sober. I think this applies to getting through tough days sober without something in your body. I think this applies just in general. Do you feel like it's gotten easier or the tools that you have just expanded?
Ooh,
does that make sense?
Yes. I think it's the tools that I've had have expanded. Because if you think about it, like lives, we're always going to have something that's going to happen to us. So it's not easy per se. It's just that I have the tools to deal with it and cope and manage.
Yeah. I'm going to throw in a caveman analogy here because dumb guy brain, but I remember I always wanted to be able to lift 225 pounds on the bench press. Like that was a goal of mine when I first started to exercise right after I got sober. I was skinny and just not in good shape. And I couldn't come close. Like I couldn't even get like one plate on each side lift up. It's 135 pounds. I couldn't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I worked really hard and I would get to like 155 and you get to like 175 and then you work your way up to 225 and it's still heavy. It's just as heavy as I remember 135 feeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just have more tools to deal with it. I can control it better.
Right.
But it's still fucking heavy work. It's
you have
heavy
more
lifting.
resilience.
Yeah, right. So I think that if you're, and that's how I think growth actually feels. It's not like one day it's just easy and second nature and it doesn't bother you anymore. It's always going to bother you. That weight's always going to be heavy. You're just going to have more tools and you're going to be more capable to manage it and to deal with it.
Yes.
So I think that that's something that I have gotten wrong about growth in a lot of ways, is that I thought I would get to a place where it feels like you've been doing it for 40 years and it's just second nature. And no, it's still difficult. And I think about my career. I've been doing it for 15 years and it's still difficult, really difficult.
Yeah.
I know what to do now.
Right.
I think experts just have a lot more ways to solve problems. I think that Hormozy said that's the difference between an expert and a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
Is there's really no difference other than the expert has many more ways to solve a problem.
Yeah.
That's all there really is. And
Yeah.
so you have learned more ways to solve the problem of, oh my God, I'm standing up here and I'm vulnerable. And what do they think? And what do they, you've just got more tools now.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah. That's great. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There was one more thing that I did well this year that I want to talk about.
That's it? Just one more?
No, you want me to keep going? with
Well,
more?
just give me like the highlights here.
I had a big goal this year of wanting to balance kid life and work life, like being present with my kids. And I think that I've done a much better job this year doing that than last year because I'm a workaholic. We both are. We like to work. We love doing it. It's something that we love to do, but I know that our kids will suffer from it if we don't actually learn how to balance it. And I feel like I've gotten better at it. My kids may tell you differently, but I think, like Sydney and I spend a lot more time together. I try to be intentional with MJ and spend time with him. You do the same. Like, I feel like we don't block them out whenever we have to record and do things, like we stay up late now instead of doing it like in the middle of the day on a Sunday.
The way I see it is that they're probably no worse off than anyone who has parents that work 2 full-time jobs. Yeah. Or both parents working full-time.
Right. I get hard on myself as a mom. That's just what moms do.
I don't think it's a bad thing to have high standards.
I know. I understand that.
I've always said that.
But I think I've done a better job at balancing it this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next question is, what went badly? What went poorly?
Kind of like what I discussed earlier about I had a lot of overstimulation and I did not take criticism well. And we can say that it went badly, but in reality, I think that I'm becoming more self-aware of it so that I can fix it.
I think bad's fair.
You think bad's fair?
Yeah, I think that it's not optimal. It's not the result you wanted.
What, being like not taking criticism?
Whatever it is, however anyone's answering whatever this is, what went bad. It's just something that I could have handled that better, or that, that hand that I was dealt was definitely not a good hand, or.
But I like to spin things.
Sure,
you know how I roll.
Sure, but I don't think I don't know.
I don't think it's bad. Like it is. It sucks. It didn't feel good. And it's something that I need to work on. I'm trying to look at it as like, all right, it's a challenge now. What do I need to do to fix it? Like, how can I cope with it? How do I manage it? It's something that I know that I need to look within myself. Something has to change in order to,
Yeah, but step one is saying what didn't go well.
Yeah.
Went bad. And yeah, it's been tough. Like, fun behind the scenes stuff. We work with each other, right? And I am, it works really well because our personalities are so complementary. Mm-hmm. You are like a behind the scenes type person. Like you see all the steps to get somewhere, every single one. And I'm more like big picture vision type stuff.
Yeah.
But I have unrelenting standards and I don't apologize for them.
Nope.
And you are more of the kind of person that's like, F it, that's good enough. Just release it. Who cares? You know, you're like, fuck it, it's good enough. Like you're just,
this is where we bash heads. This is where we fucking will fight over.
It's like, man, just look at our cars and you can tell who cares and who doesn't about, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I don't apologize for that either, man. That's just it's part of me.
Dude, there was an orange juice that spilled back there.
Now that was MJ, and I didn't know it was back there.
You were growing new species.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Smells
that
like
was
French
gross.
fries in there a lot.
I have a
and it's
mom
just-
car. I have kids, and they like to put their trash in there. And sometimes I'm just like, okay.
You can say
fuck
it's the
it.
car, but it's also your closet.
Oh yeah,
And
it's
it's-
me. I'm unorganized. I am.
And
It is me.
So
I'm messy.
we have butted heads all year long.
Yes, we have. We have when it comes to this stuff because I'm very much we're so opposites when it comes down to it. But I think that we still do a good job at like compromising and kind of finding that middle ground.
We do.
Even though there's one argument that we continue to keep having.
Which one?
Posting on social media.
It needs to be done.
And I need to take my time from social media because social media is overstimulating for me.
But you came up with the system for it.
I did. I've come up with a system,
So it got done.
and this is something, and this is actually on this list that we're going to go down. Do you want me to just say what I did?
Yeah, just go.
Okay. So I have decided that I'm put things in order. I prioritized things, and it's going to be like home, self-care, work, social media, like when I'm at home. And social media is part of our job. That's what we do.
That's how you reach people.
How we reach people. So I do have a big part in that. And since he works at a regular full-time job, that's something that I really have to do. So I decided that I'm going to, and I started doing this past month, and it has been a fucking game changer. And it's waking up and doing housework first, like doing a load of laundry,
Getting the environment right.
Because with kids, guys, like I can pick up and then 5 minutes, it's a complete disaster
Especially
again.
when they're on break.
And
Oh
I
my
don't,
God.
I'm not the kind of mom who picks up before I go to bed. I just don't do it. I will do the dishes occasionally, but most of the time I've got time in the morning, I'll do it then. So I will wake up. I have to make my bed. That's like a big thing. If I don't, like, cleaning up my room is the first thing. I get dirty clothes and stuff out of the bathroom, take it to the laundry room. Like I spend about an hour on housework. It's really not that much time. It's not. An hour is not that bad. And then I'll start doing my self-care stuff. Work out, journal, read, whatever. I don't look at social media yet. I got to wait. I've got to wait to do that until all of this is done. It's kind of my reward or whatnot.
I think that's a high ROI process that you've got.
Yeah.
No phone within the first hour of the day.
Yeah.
Because what does a phone have every time you pick it up? It's just bad news.
It is
Usually
not.
it's bad news. It's a bad headline or it's a notification or an email that you have to tend to. It's never anything good. It can derail you so
I believe
fast.
that so many people struggle with being overstimulated, and it's not just because of their lives. It's not just because of what's going on. It's because of social media and our phones. Like we are all very addicted to our phones because we're too connected in a way, and we have to see what's going on. Like I can be addicted to social media. I think all of us are addicted to this stuff. Like not all of us, but you know what I mean. A majority of people don't want to use absolutes or whatnot, but I'm learning to really find the balance of not focusing too much on that and getting my stuff that's priority out of the way before I do any of that. And same with work. Like I like to come in the office and do my prep for an episode or prep for the social media that I'm going to post before I actually go into the community or before I go on to TikTok or Instagram or whatever, you know? And I think it's been working really well for me.
TikTok could be gone in a couple of weeks.
Because I feel like also if I don't work out and I do all those things, it makes it even worse. So I have to work out before I do those things. Or I'll start looking at it through
So you've got your self-care priorities. One being
Yeah.
environmental self-care, where you're taking care of the environment because you can't think straight if there's a bunch of clutter.
Right.
And then the second would be your health.
Yeah.
And whatever morning work that you might do.
Yes.
And then you've got a process now for posting and pulling reels and content calendar and all that good stuff.
I kind of have a calendar.
It took us like 2 years to get that done.
It's not really a calendar. We're kind of going with the flow on that.
Yeah, it's just like, we pull segments.
We'll
and-
have ideas and we changed our content up a little bit. If y'all aren't following us, it's kind of different.
a little bit.
Yeah. Because we weren't posting that much.
Yeah. Gets exhausting.
Because I don't like social media that much, even though like I can become addicted
That's
to
how we
it.
reach people. That's how we help people.
Freaking contradictory. But anyway, okay.
Okay. What lessons did you learn this year?
Like I already talked about that. Exposure therapy.
That was the biggest lesson you learned this year was you can expose yourself to something that's difficult.
Yes.
And it may not ever feel completely comfortable, but you get more tools the more you expose yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think that the worst thing you can do is run and hide from stuff that you're avoiding.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's like an abusive situation or a toxic situation, where you're or you're in an environment where you are continually being harmed or whatnot. We don't just like expose ourselves to that over and over again so that we get better. This is about things that help you grow and change and shift or whatnot. I know some people might get that a little confused.
There's a quote I'll butcher. I think it's the peace you seek is on the other side of the work that you're avoiding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. That was one of my lessons this year.
That's great.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is what habit or system
I already did that.
accounted for the most of your system?
I already told you that.
That was your process in the mornings.
Yes. Yeah, that was a big thing for me.
Which one haven't you answered before I keep just reading these?
What brought me the most happiness? Bonding with our daughter. I like really bonded with her this year. It's been pretty awesome. She's at a great age. So I know that's personal, not necessarily work related.
What about life related? What about personal, not just relationship like that, that's a great thing, but
getting back into dance? What are you trying to get out of me?
nothing.
Oh.
Just asking questions.
Okay. Getting back into dance and that's brought me a lot of happiness.
Okay, next one.
Okay. I don't think we need to go through all these. There's like a million questions.
Go through the most important
I've already
ones.
gone through like we're already 40 minutes in. You got to do it too.
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
Hold
next?
on, let me see. What did I expect to complete but didn't? I expected to have another course out because we're in the background creating some new courses.
Yeah, fun teaser for everybody.
Yeah.
Independently Strong's, the course was developed to be universal. Whether you stay or go, it does not matter. We will help you grow no matter what. We use a method called VEER. We validate people, we educate you, we empower you, and we help you recover, whatever recovery means for you. It is a universal program that builds you up. We also want to create more specific courses. One course, if you are a couple who is rebuilding a relationship, and then another one, if you are someone who has just flat left. And they will be smaller versions of Independently Strong, like smaller,
right? Like half
not
of
as
what,
robust, probably
right?
Half. Yeah,
yeah. We recommend you don't get these unless you've done the first one, just because that has so much pre-information.
there's a lot of stuff that's in there.
There's a lot of stuff that's in there.
You can grab those and then you know what? That was really helpful. Maybe I'll invest in the big one, but could be really, really helpful for people.
Yeah. Okay.
That was something you didn't get done.
No, but and it says, is this still an important goal of mine? And if so, how can I make the future follow through more likely? Yes. It's a huge goal, and I just need to be more intentional and prioritize.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Here's what I did with mine. I wanted to go back and listen to last year's episode because we did one of these last year.
Yeah.
Like our last episode of the year was this very thing. It was a recap video. And I wanted to see, what did I say that I was going to do? And did I actually stay consistent? Did I follow up on it? What did I make it or not? So I had a few goals. One of them was to organize workshop or retreat. And we did. We had our first workshop this past June.
I was hoping that we would have a retreat last year too, though.
I'm looking at a venue for that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I thought that was something that
Yeah.
I do wish that we would have done, but we didn't get done.
Workshop is something that we did last year. We wanted to put on a workshop, an in-person workshop. And so far, I want to do at least 2 of those this year. I would like to do these things. I'd like to do at least 2 a month, but we're not quite there yet.
Not there yet, babe.
Not quite there yet. But we've also identified a lot of cities that we can get to where there are a lot of listeners that I think we could actually, fly up there, host a workshop and help people. Last year, it was just it was a wheelie workshop. This year, it'll be split up. We'll have couples and we'll also have individuals. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for these. Cannot wait. But that was a goal of ours last year, and we did it.
Yep.
So 1 for 1 so far.
Woo woo.
Next thing is I wanted to prioritize family balance, work-life balance, make sure our kids felt seen. I would say I know that I did absolutely everything I could considering the workload that we had. I'm working about 60 hours a week in my normal job, and I'm putting in, I don't know how many in TUFO. It's insane. On top of the kids and everything else. So basically I've just sacrificed all the sleep that I would have gotten. 4 hours is like a pretty decent night for me here lately. 4 to 5 hours. 5 hours is really good.
It's hard for you to decompress and wind down.
So I would say I didn't do the greatest job of that. It's important. I need to find a way to make sure that they come first. That I can do better at. So
I think you did a decent job
I would
this
say
year.
I'm 1 for 2. 1 for 2.
No, you got better than we were the year before.
The next thing I said I wanted to expand community engagement and double down on building a stronger connection with people in the community. And I think that we absolutely did that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we reached a ton of people this year. Increase focus on self-care. For me, it was managing back pain. I got through a back surgery this year, dealing with narcotic pain medicine, and sober, happy, no problems, all good. That was a huge one for me. Taking care of my back, taking care of my health.
And going to physical therapy.
Physical therapy, doing that.
Like you're supposed to?
I'm actually doing it on my own too. I'm not one of those people that just doesn't go. And I've stayed in shape too, considering I haven't been able to work out.
I know. I hate you. Oh my God. I love you, but I hate you for this.
I think I'm only 10 pounds off of my lightest weight, and I can lose 10 pounds. I bet you I could lose 10 pounds.
You have eaten
4
more
weeks.
candy
Yeah, I love
and
candy so much.
sugar and things, and you still have abs. I think I've gained at least 20 pounds. That I'm just being real and transparent with everybody, because as a female, it's totally different. I'm cutting in January, but God,
Got to get on it.
yes.
I said I wanted to take more risk professionally. So getting closer to transitioning to being able to do this full time. I want to take a moment and thank listeners and thank followers and thank everyone that listens to this show and tunes in and leaves reviews. And before I go any further on reviews, it would mean the absolute world to us if you haven't already to write a review, to follow, subscribe to the show on YouTube, on Apple or Spotify, and leave us a review. It does so much for us. You have no idea how much exposure that gets the show, because our dream is to be able to do this full time. I am doing my dream job right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is about midnight, and there's nothing in the world I would rather be doing than sitting here with you right now
And
in
think
front of a
about
microphone.
what we can do for everybody if we had more time to focus on.
It's so many more people
it
we
would
could help.
be
There's
so
many more
much
people we could help.
more.
It would be
So
crazy.
much more.
But either way, I didn't get any closer to that.
Yes, you did.
I would say that, but then I have to check myself. We actually did.
Yes.
We actually did. So if you're interested in starting a show like a podcast or something like that, the outlay of cash is pretty significant. Microphones, hosting platforms, you've got mixers and audio editing software, and there's a lot of time that goes into it. The first year that we did this, it was more or less like a passion. It was just an expense. It was a big old fat expense.
Yes.
This year, we've got a lot of people that support us through merch, through rocks and courses and things like that. And we didn't pay ourselves, but we didn't lose money.
No.
And we were able to purchase a new computer, because this one,
we put it back.
the old one screams and it's
to what we're
destroyed. But anyway,
I like my computer.
So I would say that we are moving closer, because I said I want to move closer to transitioning.
Exactly.
I definitely did that. We definitely did that.
Agreed.
And we have all of you to thank for that. Seriously, we cannot thank you enough for your support. It's the coolest thing in the world. Like if I could do this full time, I know that I could help a ton of people and I'd be happy doing it. I just never bought that lie that you can either do something that you love and be completely poor, or you can
Do something.
take a job that you hate and make a living.
Right.
I've always just like, listen, I'm an addict. I'm always going to say both.
Even that we go against the grain. Is this what we do?
Both.
We're going to push the limits.
Both. If I can find a way. So we've got sponsors now that are helping with a lot of this stuff. You guys are helping us. It's been amazing. It's awesome. We've had people that subscribe to Patreon just to support the show, just out of the kindness of their hearts. It's been amazing. So yeah, we're getting closer to that.
Yep.
Been really, really cool. And on that, I was actually really surprised to see, I go and look at the download analytics. So last December, when we were recording this episode, we have grown 309% since then.
That's crazy.
The first year that we did this, I think it took us about a year to get 10,000 downloads.
Almost.
And it was like a couple months off.
Yeah.
June. I think it was like July or September.
September
August.
was when we started. Yeah.
Since then, we have grown 309%. We not only hit 100,000 this year, we hit 200,000, 300,000 and beyond.
Yeah.
We've been streamed on iTunes, I guess it's Apple Podcasts, and Spotify like 600,000 or 700,000 times. And that's 2 years in. So as much as I can sit here and beat myself up that we're not doing enough, I'll take a moment to, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty freaking cool. We recorded 80 new episodes this year. We published every single week. We made friends. We made great connections with guests and authors and all kinds of awesome people. Had some amazing conversations that changed people's lives, which was never more evident than when some amazing wheelies put together a compilation for us this last week. We were in freaking tears. It was the greatest thing ever. The sweetest thing ever. I mean, changed my life. I mean, that was just like, I will always remember that. Thank you if you're listening. Hosted the workshop, didn't go crazy navigating a full year of this thing, got through the back surgery. And then I filmed a commercial with Aleve.
Yeah.
That was in February. I did that. I actually, it was like I flew out to LA and was in front of a camera, and
you did an amazing job.
There were some things that went well this year.
Yes.
But if you asked me before I sat down to do this, how this year went, I would have given you the longest sigh of all time. And so if you're listening to this, now you've heard our stuff, think about your year. And I know that the bad stuff resonates more than the good stuff. The bad stuff's always what sticks out.
That's what we do. That's why it's hard for me to take criticism.
It's the bad stuff that's glaring, right? Because we think the bad stuff weighs more than the good stuff, but it just doesn't. It doesn't. That good stuff is what you're going to need to fall back on. That's why this exercise is so important.
Yeah.
There has been things that you have done. I don't care if your partner has been to treatment 4 times this year and you have been going crazy and you've been struggling to make rent, or you're in and out of work and you're worried about your kids. You have done something this year that will change the course of your life for years to come. You have picked up a skill this year that is going to benefit you and everyone around you for the rest of your life. I promise you. It's in the hell times like this when you really find out what you're made of, and when you really are able to I guess adversity really forces you to figure out what you're made of.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it really does. Like to learn skills, and you're forced into it and it's not comfortable.
Nope.
And you look back on it and it's just going to be a kind of a dark time, but there's going to be some beautiful things. You will realize that you've learned how to prioritize yourself when you needed to take care of yourself, or prioritize your children over your relationship. You've learned how to set boundaries with people. You've learned how to ask for help. You've learned how to help others. You've learned how to be there for people. You have grown outside of yourself. I bet you before you listened to this show, before you got involved in our community and everything else, you were all alone. You were all alone. And now look at the network of people that you have around you when something goes wrong. I mean, I see wheelies reaching out from all over the country. They're flying around to meet each other. They're
it's
talking
beautiful.
on the phone. They're messaging and emailing back and forth. That is a beautiful thing. And that is something to be proud of. And that's the good stuff that I want you to focus on.
Yep.
I know some bad stuff has happened. I had some bad stuff happen this year too. All right. It wasn't all good. I have beat myself up more than anyone in the world. I walk around with imposter syndrome like you would not believe. I feel like I'm not worthy of any of this. Like I have no business sitting up here. Like I'm going to just disappoint everybody because I'm not going to be able to really deliver whenever, you know, we do get a chance to really get big. And I'm not going to be able to finish this book. I'm not going to be able to do any of this stuff. That's how I feel about myself all the time. You guys remind me that that's not true. And I'm going to remind you for yourself that the stuff that you think about yourself is not true either. So there's been some wins this year, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Okay. I think that caps it for the year-end template.
Okay.
Is there anything else in the backside of that?
No.
It's got some fun stuff in here too.
It does, but I don't know if anybody cares what my best meal was this year.
No, but it's also got a plan for what you're going to do for the next year, which is important. So I wanted to get with you and put you on the spot here.
Okay.
For the next year, what is something that you want to do this next year?
Does it have to be tangible?
It's a goal.
Like a personal goal?
A goal.
Honestly, this next year, I just, well, I want to have the workshops and stuff, but I want to shift my perspective to stop focusing on the things that I can't do right and start focusing on the things that I on my strengths. More gratitude. More like that. I mean, I know you're asking like maybe a specific goal, but I don't really have just like a specific goal. It's really just to keep growing and keep doing these things. But what I want to do different next year is a solid question that I want to ask myself. And that's just have more compassion for myself, give myself more self-compassion and stop being a perfectionist and, you know, beating myself up whenever I do something wrong and start focusing on the things that I do right. And I think that things will line up a little bit better when I focus on the things that I do better, when I do okay, my strengths, because we beat ourselves up all the time. Why? I don't think that's it's productive to change the things that we do that suck, but it's also productive to look at our strengths. So that's what I want to do next year.
That's solid. Mine's just the book.
Yeah.
I'm working on a book proposal. I know
yours is more tangible, but...
Yeah, I'm working on a book proposal right now. It's been a dream of mine for my entire life to write a book. I just never thought I could.
Yeah, and I think that if you also shift your focus like I'm doing, that book will happen for you. That's the thing that I'm trying to do.
That book will happen when I make that book a priority.
Yeah, but
that's
like
when it'll happen.
It's going to be my mental thing that's going to help everything else come together. It's not like, oh, I just have that goal. No, I'm going to focus on my mentality of it and my perspective of it. And that's what's going to drive the change.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Like, does belief come before ability, or does ability come before belief?
Right.
Do you have abilities and skills and then you start to believe that you can do something because of those skills and abilities? Or do you believe that you can do something and then develop skills and abilities to get there?
Yes.
I think that honestly, it's belief first.
I do. I mean, yeah, because you have to, if you're so down on it and saying you can't do it, you're right. You can't do it.
Yeah. If you say you can or you can't, you're correct.
Right. So we just need to focus more on like that.
Okay. Last part of this episode, split into as promised. I wrote a newsletter this last week. If you don't know, we have a newsletter. It's available on our website. You can sign up for it. Comes to your email inbox every Monday morning. And it's also posted as a blog when I remember to do so.
You're doing great at that.
I just like sending the newsletters. I hate having to schedule the blog too. It just seems rather redundant. But I need them up here because I forget that I write them and they're good to have for posterity, if anything. Anyway, I've been taking notes in my phone lately, which has been really helpful. If you don't do this, maybe I'm the last person on earth to do this, but I have a lot of good thoughts. I think I do anyway. And I forget them. Like I forget them within a day or sometimes an hour. Like something really good. Like it could have been an entire episode, or it could have been an essay,
right?
Or a newsletter, or it could have been a module in a course or a course in itself. And then I'll forget it. I'll get busy doing something else. I get distracted and I just forget it. So as soon as I have the thought now, I pull my phone out, I open my notes app, and I jot down a few sentences and some reminders about what I was thinking or what I was doing when I had the thought. That way I can, when I recall it, it's very rich when I think about it.
I like that.
And so this last week, I had a few thoughts, and it came from a few quotes. I write down a lot of quotes too. If I see a quote, I'll think about it and then write some notes on it.
Dissect it a little bit.
Dissect it. So this is one. This is a really good one. People that can't take. Sorry. No, here it is. Okay, sorry. People that can't communicate think that everything is an argument, and people that can't take accountability act like everything is an attack. And this is, if this isn't a maxim, I don't know what is. This is so true. If you've ever dealt with someone, this is the best way to find out if you're around someone who's a poor communicator. If they think that everything is an argument and that everything is an attack, that is a sign that they are a poor communicator that cannot take accountability. We probably all know someone like this in our lives. Why are you looking at me like that? You think I'm talking to you about you here? I'm not writing this about you.
Well, I do see myself in some of that.
Which parts?
Where I feel like everything is an attack.
Yeah, you do.
I do that. And I check myself a lot. It's something that I've been working on a lot. That also goes back to my whole criticism thing where I can't take it. I do feel like a lot of things are an attack. You know, I do this.
Yeah, it's really hard to correct you, even on like really basic stuff.
It is really hard. Because I take it personally. It's like whenever,
I don't know why I get in trouble.
I know. Well, I did that Grinch reel, remember?
Yeah.
And what did it say?
That was the gist of it.
That was the gist. It was like, it's a double standard. Like, I can challenge you and I can give you shit, but I can dish it, but I can't take it.
Right.
I know that this is something about me. This has been something about me for a very long time.
Way before we ever met.
Yes. This is like almost a core fucking thing inside of me that I'm aware of, and I'm really trying to focus on it. I think that what we tend to do is people will make excuses for it, and women in general, I'll say that because I'm a woman, and this is where I see this on social media a lot, is that we'll say we're overstimulated. And when we're overstimulated, we lash out and we use it as an excuse. So I have to tell myself, okay, well then what can you change to make yourself not so fucking overstimulated? For me, don't get on social media that much. Work out more. Take a breather, take a pause, actually think before you speak. Like, there are ways that we can change that, because my reactions towards you are not beneficial and they are wrong. They make you walk on eggshells. This is probably one of my worst qualities.
Thank you for bringing that up and just owning that, because you're right. Those videos that you sent me were so frustrating, because I'm on the female side of TikTok generally, because it's Tufo's algorithm.
Yeah.
And most of our audience, it shades female.
Right.
So it's a lot of stuff I see, and it's women generally wearing out men in general, just wearing men out. We've had conversations about this. Listen, there's some issues going on with young men and older men right now that, believe me, I get it. They're real. They're real. But you would think that women were perfect, because when there is something valid like this that's brought up, it's not, I could do better. It's not that same energy. It's, I was overstimulated. I do this, and they laugh about it, and it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
As
hey, my guys, what's up?
As if I'm not overstimulated whenever you correct me.
Yes, it is not. This is the type of behavior.
Like, we're human.
Right. That is not acceptable. Like, it's the behavior. And I think that even maybe those that are on substances or whatnot, they act this way because they are very like on edge, and they're just like, it's an attack. It's an attack. Don't attack me, blah, blah, blah. Well, some of us act the same way when we're overstimulated. And that's why I say it's not necessarily the substance. It's really just your behaviors and how you're reacting to things. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. So if you have this as a listener, this is something that I think that you could really journal about and dig into and recognize and say, ooh, shit, man, I do that too. What can I do to fix this? And for me, as I'm working through it, I can help you guys work through it since I'm working through it as well. But I think that I'm pretty good at whenever I acknowledge something that I can try to work through it and try to get better at it. This, like I said, this is something that has been going on for a really long time, and I made excuses for it, but we've got to stop making the excuse that we're overstimulated and that's why we react. It's not okay. We've got to learn how to not be overstimulated, or if we are, we've got to learn to just
react better.
We've got to learn to communicate better, because that is our part. And you can't communicate with me. I know I make you walk on eggshells sometimes, make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. And I feel a lot of shame. Like I've had those feelings of, oh shit. But you know why? You finally really started calling me out on it. You stopped allowing me to do it because you were tired of it. This is like your year to finally speak up to me.
It's so weird, and the dynamic is so strange because for so long I felt like I didn't have any right. It's almost like, who the hell are you to correct me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after 11 years, I felt like it was maybe time so I could say something. You know? And I think maybe that's where a lot of people are at, especially early on. And I read through the comments, and a lot of women are like, well, I've been taking care of everything for so long and I'm overstimulated, and he doesn't acknowledge any of it. And so, yeah, I snap. Okay. Some of that I get. But
Some of it I get too.
Listen, your feelings are valid, but your actions are not always. Your behaviors you are accountable for. You have to be accountable for. And you'll want to know like what's your part in things. The way that you respond and react to people is huge.
Yeah.
Like you're essentially modeling the behavior that you would like to see whenever like that is your opportunity to model the behavior that you would like to see them have.
Right.
So whenever, like, you correct me all the time. And do I ever snap at you? Like ever?
No. You've gotten so good at like,
I don't
you
snap.
just don't. You just like, You just take
I'll work
it.
on that.
Like
I'll
you've
take
allowed
and-
it to be normalized. And I think that, so that's your part, you know, is like allowing it in a way of enabling and tolerating
like
it.
I said, I didn't think I had a right
to
or a
say
place.
it. But now, and also whenever you do say it, it's not an argument that we get into, but it's a hard discussion. It's, you know, it's hard conversations where we sit and we're like, you know, maybe I cry a little bit, or I'm upset, or you're like, maybe you lash out. Like they're not easy conversations. But then the next day we'll have better conversations, and then we'll keep having better conversations. And it's always in my mind. Like this is where my self-awareness is. Like I know that these are things that are happening, and I'm grateful that you brought them up, but it does sting in the beginning. But that's not your fault that it stings. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Just like when people bring this up to their addicts and their shit, those people got to feel how they got to feel. You can't take that on because you brought it to their attention. They need to go through that in order to make changes. It goes both ways in this area.
Yeah, but
does that make sense?
Yeah. And if you're someone who struggles with this, if you feel like everything is an attack, that is a lack of accountability, which is the very thing that you're upset at them for not doing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild that it works that way. I understand why, but you got to rise above it. You have to take accountability for yourself and for your actions and for the behaviors that you want modeled for them, for your children, and for yourself. Like this is who you are. Like the responses and the reactions do matter. They do matter.
Yeah. And I kind of want to question those who are overstimulated. Do you have too much on your plate? Are there many?
Or are you on your phone too much?
Are perfectionists? Are you on your phone too much? But I was just thinking about like the holidays. A lot of people were overstimulated. For me personally, the holidays aren't. The only reason they're overstimulating for me is because the kids are home and I'm trying to work and all those things. But when it comes to like the gifts and the parties and all that, I took a step back from that stuff years ago because I was like, I don't want this on my plate. Like I allow my kids to wrap the presents. They don't need to be perfect. I let you wrap presents. It doesn't need to be perfect. Like I let go of shit. And that helps with not being so overstimulated. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If people do struggle with being overstimulated, what can you take off your plate? Are you doing more than what's necessary within your everyday life?
Yeah. So it is a quick way to identify if oftentimes I would say if one of the two of those things is present, I can work with it. But if both of them are present, and what I mean by that is someone that can't communicate because they think everything is an argument. They think everything's an argument.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Or they can't take accountability because they act like everything's an attack. Oftentimes when people have both of these are people that I don't associate with.
Yeah, I know.
I will not deal with someone who cannot have an emotionally intelligent conversation and I will not deal with someone who is constantly on the defensive about anything and everything.
Right.
That tells me that is a person with a lot of wounds that's got a lot of work to do, and they are nowhere close to someone that I want to bother spending my time with.
Right.
Just frankly, that's where I'm at with it.
It's emotional intelligence as
It's
well.
emotional intelligence, because here for the last year or two, I've gotten around some really, really great people. And like Dr. Taylor and I, on the way, we went to a conference. That's another thing I did this year. I went to an addiction conference.
Oh yeah, I went
Met
to
a
the
bunch of
Texas
you went to,
counselors conference.
Yeah. So we've done some cool stuff like that. But on the way there, I think we worked out a marketing plan for Independently Strong. We're about to rebuild the website, and man, we were going back and forth with ideas. And oftentimes when you're working with someone and you're being creative is tough because it's vulnerable, because it's like your idea. You thought really hard about it. It's kind of how your brain works. And so when you put it out there and it's not met with applause and it's met with like, no, that's not it, a lot of people can get really hurt by that. Dr. Taylor and I went back and forth for like hours shooting down each other's ideas. And neither of us at any point took it personally.
Y'all didn't get butthurt over
not
it.
at any point. It was because our goal was, as a group, as a partnership, we were looking for the best idea. And so we would table some, write some down, shoot others down. But at no point was like, I'm married to the idea because it's my idea, and you're attacking me by attacking my idea. And that was a moment that I realized, like, this is what a mature conversation's like.
Yep.
This is the greatest thing in the world.
In business, because you don't have that in
God, no.
in your
Not in
your
my
regular business. No,
God,
but
no.
we have that too though in
We have
business.
that.
I mean, since we're married, we'll, like cut each other's heads off sometimes, but
HR
we still
would not like us.
But we have pretty productive conversations.
Yeah, but I think that those two things, like if someone can communicate with you and they're not always feeling like everything's an argument, like you're arguing the moment that you're trying to communicate something or that you're not attacking them. I think that those are the criteria that we ought to use with people that we just engage with. Like I've read this book, Super Communicators. Isn't it around here somewhere? Like that we feel like we use it as a.
It's over there.
I moved it.
I moved it. It was on a thing.
We use it as like a stand or something.
Yeah.
But either way, Charles Duhigg, he said, communication is the process by which individuals align their thoughts and emotions through conversation. It's simple and I like it. But it kind of baked into that definition is the idea that great communication is only possible with people that are humble, curious, emotionally and intellectually mature, and understanding. Those are people that are good communicators. And if they're not those things, they're not going to be a good communicator.
But you can learn.
And
how
if you're
to
trying to
things.
communicate with someone who is who is feeling everything's an attack or everything's an argument, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, you're not going to get through it. There's not going to be any productive conversations going on. Nothing. You're not going to be able to solve
or shop
problems
or something like that. Do something else with your time. You are not going to solve that. That is something that deep seated within them that they're going to have to solve. Some of it could be your reaction, no doubt, but for the most part, those are criteria. I love that lesson. Those are the criteria that I look for now with people that I really want to spend time with, or people that I want to engage with and like do projects with.
Yes.
People that can do that.
Yeah.
That's huge. And another fun point that I had, this is a fun idea. People who avoid their own feelings will neglect yours. People who avoid their own feelings will neglect yours. It's so simple, but anyone that refuses to process their own emotions will not be able to help you process your own or understand you while you're doing it.
Have empathy for you.
Yeah. And I think that anyone that pretends that their emotions don't exist is also essentially going to expect you to do the same.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
right. You used to do that with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't deal with that shit. Like, what are you even on about right now?
Right.
What
You're
is
too
this even
sensitive.
about?
Why are you talking? Like, why do you feel this way? You shouldn't feel this way. Yeah. It's because you didn't, because you felt like you weren't supposed to feel that way. So there's no empathy there.
So think about this as an acid test for someone that you want to try to solve a problem with, is that someone who avoids their own feelings is going to neglect your feelings, your emotions. It's a very simple acid test. And this basically throws a blanket over anyone who's in active addiction right now. I don't know, and I don't mean this. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Sometimes I don't know what's crazier. I don't know another way to say this. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't know what's crazier. People that avoid their own feelings or people that expect avoidant types to care and understand theirs. I don't know what's crazier. Because I've been someone that didn't care about their own feelings.
Right.
I've also seen on the other side what it's like to expect someone like me to care about your deep
Ooh.
and rich emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what's crazier. I really don't know. It's like equal almost, but it's equally frustrating.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think that's solid. What you just said. It's equally frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely is. But anyone who has not worked through their own emotions is going to lack empathy. So when you have emotions, they will not be able to empathize with you because they have never explored what it feels like to grieve or to hurt or to be sad or to be stressed or anything. They've never thought that hard about it.
Or maybe they've had
it.
those feelings, but they haven't processed it. That's the thing. They don't go through it. They don't go all the way through it to actually understand what it means to feel that way.
Empathy, when it comes to something like, let's say that someone's passed away in your life, you're grieving, or you're grieving a relationship, you've broken up. If someone hasn't been through that, they're not going to really be able to offer you much in way of support because they've never been there before.
But those who are empaths are able to feel the feelings of others, how they would feel if they were in that position.
The process So empathy is a dual process. It's cognition plus mirror neurons. And you can actually feel what other people are feeling, but someone who avoids their own emotions is not going to be able to do this. They're not going to have empathy because they've never processed grief. They've never processed any of that stuff.
Right.
Expecting them to be able to handle your emotions, it's just...
Or understand your emotions.
It is such a profound... I don't know another way to put it. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think that there's any capacity there that they could handle this.
Yeah.
It's wild that you're even asking them to. What would make you think that they would be able to do that? And this was like, it's a simple point.
Because they fake it sometimes, I'm sure.
Well, they're not going to know you're hurting, A. B, they have no experience or recall for what that emotion actually feels like. And C, they probably don't even care. Frankly, they may not even care. I was going to say
that's pretty much what it boils down to. Is that they don't necessarily care.
That was a cool lesson in a really short quote. Is that people who avoid their feelings will neglect yours. Yeah. Just know that. Know that going into it. They will neglect your feelings. They neglect their own. Why would they care about yours?
Yeah.
So interesting. This last one I had is incompatibility. Like whatever happened to incompatibility?
That's that word.
Incompatibility is the term that I felt was thrown around in every sitcom or like network television show when I was growing up in the 90s. It's like, oh, we're splitting up. We're just not compatible.
Yeah.
No one says that anymore.
Right.
But it didn't go anywhere. Incompatibility exists.
Right.
It absolutely
exists. Some people
exists.
just aren't meant to be together.
Yes. Like I've written about wolves. We actually posted this as a carousel recently. Like wolves were, dogs, ancestors of wolves, right? Dogs have been domesticated over thousands of years. They have been selected for traits like altruism and kindness and lack of aggression. They make good companions. So I was looking one night online and there was this baby wolf, like wolf pup. I was like, that is the cutest fucking thing ever. I need one. So I Googled, can you keep wolves as pets? And I found this Reddit thread where this guy had owned several. He was like, no,
they're not.
They are the worst pets of all time. That is a wild animal. I'm like, well, if it was raised by you from day one, how would it know any different? It's because domestication takes place over thousands of years. That's what evolution is.
It's like evolution. Yeah, exactly.
They are selected out for traits. And so I got me thinking, okay, so wolves just don't make good pets. Maybe one out there, but in general, don't get a wolf. It will bite your face off. They'll attack things, tear stuff up. They're wild animals. They need room to roam. They're just territorial. They're alpha. They're crazy. So it got me thinking. So from an evolutionary standpoint, we are selected for reproduction. Like the traits that we have, if you ask like an evolutionary psychologist or an evolutionary biologist, why am I here? He would say, well, you have some traits, and you do, Paige, or anyone who's listening, you have some traits that have been necessary in carrying on the survival of the species for whatever reason. Like if it was strength or charisma or you're super fertile, whatever it is, there was something there that furthered the species, right? But that's it. We haven't really been selecting for mates for a very long time. There are so many people running around this planet right now that are evolutionarily, biologically not meant to be good partners. They're just not.
Right.
And there are incompatible couples all over the place. There are people out there trying to turn wolves
into pets,
puppies, pets that you keep in your bed with you that are just not made for it.
Right. And that's okay.
That's the thing.
It's okay.
So I am a people pleaser. I'll just read this real quick. This was like, I got personal with this one. It's not long. It's like 4 short paragraphs or 5 paragraphs. So I've spent my life as a people pleaser. I'm twisting myself into shapes that I hoped others would find valuable or likable. It's a habit that I'm working on breaking. I love stats and probabilities, and here lately I've realized that it is statistically impossible for my personality to perfectly align with everyone I meet, or at least not if I'm being authentic, if I'm being myself. It's just impossible. I'm a weird guy. So why then do I have so many friends and so few people that I struggle to get along with? I pondered this for a little while, thinking about this.
Yeah.
There's only one person in the world that I don't get along with, really.
It's true.
That's it.
Yep.
So I thought that is impossible. There's something going on here, and it's got to have something to do with my people pleasing. The truth is, I've mastered the art of eroding parts of myself to fit. I've made it an instinctual reflex to dissect relationships like puzzles, removing pieces of my own identity just to make it work. And I'm not proud of it. And I make mention that you rag on me for this all the time. And it's hurt. It hurts, but it is absolutely valid. I'm glad you do it because it's true. I appreciate the reminder.
I appreciate you doing.
I appreciate the reminder, even if it does
shit.
hurt. But I've come to see that incompatibility isn't failure. It's just reality. It's okay not to fit with everyone. And it's not a cue to change myself constantly. Yes, some relationships are worth working on, and growth sometimes requires shedding old beliefs for better ones, but it shouldn't mean reshaping myself for every single person all the time. So now my thing is I am learning to rebalance kindness and compromise with standing firm in who I am. I can be polite, fun, and friendly without apologizing for the parts of me that don't bend. But it's so effing hard. It is so hard. This is me speaking out of the story at this moment. It's just so fucking hard. I want to be liked by people. And I think this is just like, I want to make sure everyone's okay. I want to make sure that you're happy and that you're in a good place. And I've given you everything that I can give you to make sure that you're okay today. And
that's a survival mode that a lot of people carry anyway, because back in the day, if you didn't adapt to people and what they did, you would die. Like in many, thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So it could be part of your
maybe
in your makeup.
I don't know, but I'm working on recognizing when I'm losing authenticity in pursuit of approval and choosing to let incompatibility simply be, just exist.
That's good.
Last paragraph. I think about this a lot when I read stories within the community, and I really do, because I see myself in those stories. I am one of you guys. That's why we connect, is because I am one of you. I've been on the other side of this, but I'm also just like you. And so I wonder why we search for puzzle pieces that just don't exist. I wonder why we go searching through ourselves to try to pick off some part of us that's essential and chop it up and carve it into a piece that fits you, just so you can be okay at my expense. I'm not being real to myself. But the missing piece of you is not in my box of available pieces. I was watching you do that puzzle last night when I was writing this.
Oh.
And so you were putting the puzzle together, and I was like, if that puzzle was a person, I am filling that puzzle up with all these pieces. But I need to recognize that at some point I'm going to come across someone who's going to have a bunch of missing pieces, and the puzzle piece is not going to be in my box to draw from. It just won't be there.
Right.
It's not my responsibility or my fault that it's not, and it's not my job to fill it by changing who I am. And as I said, so I asked the question, like, why is this so hard to accept? Is it the fear of failure, the angst of separation, the logistics of breaking up, the label of divorce, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being liked or loved? And I'm quickly getting older, but I'm slowly getting wiser. But this is a mantra I'm taking with me into 2025. Incompatibility is not a signal to try harder. It's a signal to honor your authenticity and let go of what doesn't align. And I'm really going to work on that this next year.
That's so
next year.
good.
But
Yes.
I think it's a relevant lesson. This is something that I'm really focusing and honing in on, is that incompatibility is not a signal to try harder
Right.
with everyone all the time,
Right.
which is what I've always done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I'm going to be an ass. I'm not going to change the way I am. And I will probably, to some degree, always be a people pleaser. And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
Right.
All the time.
No, I agree.
I really don't.
Right.
I like people for the most part. I like it. I like people. I like finding out what they're into.
It's whenever it takes away from you and it's taking away the pieces of you that are important.
And
that's
I think
when
that's
there's
the
a
lesson
that's
there.
where there's a problem. That's when it gets too much. Whenever you start to lose some of yourself because you care too much about what these other people are thinking. So you have to find that balance.
Yeah, and I think that's the lesson for the audience, because I
Yeah.
see that so much in our community, man. I
Same.
see so many people that are willing to chop up pieces of themselves to make it look like a puzzle piece that's going to fit inside of you. But now I'm lighter because of it, you know?
Yeah,
It's like I'm not
yeah.
being authentic. And our
No.
show is about, like, that's our number one value, is authenticity.
Authenticity.
And I've recognized that I have not really been authentic when it comes to this. So I'm going to be me, more me anyway. And I think that those are 3 lessons that are really helpful. Take those with you into the new year. I think that's all we've got here. I think it's
Yeah.
about time for bed.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that we haven't covered?
No, I think this was good. I
Okay.
think we covered a lot.
One more time. If you haven't followed the show, left us a review, we'd greatly appreciate that. Like, you have no clue how much we'd appreciate that.
Yes.
Fall goes well, by the end of next year, we will be hopefully set up in a studio somewhere that's not in the home and doing this all the
I
time
like my home
with
studio.
amazing guests and a producer and videos and everything else. That's the goal. And I want the content to be great enough so it can reach a massive audience, so tons of people can get help. That is my goal. I want to help as many people as we possibly can.
Yep.
We love it, and I hope that you guys love it too. So thank you for everyone who's been here with us for the last year and has supported us and sent us kind notes and messages and even likes and follows and things like that. Like, we see you guys, and it means the world to us, because being a creator on this side of things, it's rather lonely. Like, especially when you're new, it feels incredibly lonely. You don't know who's watching or if anyone cares. And for a lot of people, for a long time, we just put stuff up there and no one liked it. And then one day they did. And you keep going. I think there's something to be said about the persistence of that. But it feels amazing when you get people on the other side to say, this helped me. This changed my life. This has been instrumental in my growth this year. And it's an honor to be part of your life. I cannot say that enough. We do not take that lightly. And that's why we treat this like a job. It is your life that we have been chosen to be part of, and we're not going to let you down.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here with us. And we'll see you next week. Until next time, I am Matt.
I'm Paige.
And we'll see you.
Bye.